Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled, Standing Up Against Troublesome Neighbors. It was the summer of 2010 when my wife and I moved into a new neighborhood with our newborn daughter. We were excited to start a new chapter in our lives, but little did we know that the new beginning would be a bumpy ride. On the first day, we were introduced to our friendly neighbors, who seemed all right at first, but things quickly took a turn for the worse when we discovered that our upstairs neighbors were causing trouble. The constant noise, traffic, and parties kept us awake at night, and we had several confrontations with them. We tried to talk to the landlord, but he was not interested in dealing with the problem. So, we decided to take matters into our own hands. One night, the troublesome neighbors came home in their car, and we noticed that it was severely damaged. Suspecting that they had hit someone and fled the scene, I immediately called the police. Little did I know that this would be the beginning of their downfall. It turned out that the male neighbor had a warrant out for his arrest for drug trafficking, and he was taken away in cuffs. The female neighbor, who left her son home alone every day, was visited by CPS again, and this time they removed the child from her care. My wife did some research and found out that they had taken off from their previous address without paying their debts. They owed nearly $48,000 in assets to Easy Home. The sheriff was called in, and their house was emptied of all their furniture, including TVs and a huge sound system. The drug dealer went to jail for possession of drugs, and the female neighbor was also arrested for assaulting the sheriff. It was satisfying to see them pay for their actions, but the best part was knowing that we had helped someone in need. Although it was heartbreaking to see the child taken away, we made sure that he was well fed and taken care of. The experience taught us to stand up for ourselves and not let troublesome neighbors ruin our happiness. Update. Years later, we ran into the female neighbor who had lost her son. She thanked us for what we did and shared that losing him was a wake-up call for her. She went through several programs to clean herself up and started working to provide for her son. We were happy to see that she had turned her life around and found a better path. The next story is titled, HOA tried to have my car towed from the clubhouse. It was there for 30 minutes, had a flat tire, a note with my phone number, and a gate sticker registered to the HOA. Still internally livid about this. Happened earlier today. I got a flat tire just outside of the entrance to our neighborhood. I noticed it and pulled over to the side of the road to check it out. It was already rimmed to pavement as there was a gash in the tire. I decided to pull off into the clubhouse parking lot, instead of driving it an extra 1/3 of a mile to my house. It would need to be towed as my car doesn't have a spare. When I pulled in, the HOA president walked out with a few other people who I assume were from the board. It looked like they just finished some type of meeting. They said nothing to me. I left a note on the windshield stating a tow truck had been called and was on its way. I also left my phone number for the tow truck guy since I lived only a minute away instead of waiting with the car. About 30 minutes later, I get a call from a tow truck guy. I take my wife's car up to the clubhouse and meet him. After some brief confusion, we figured out we were there for different reasons. He was there to tow my car on behalf of the HOA and was waiting for a board representative to sign the tow paperwork. I told him what was going on and he was cool about it. He called his boss and then he just hung out. The board representative shows up and talks to the tow guy. She then says to me that they didn't know I lived there, and the rules state you cannot leave a car parked at the clubhouse unless you are using the pool. I explained that I had a flat tire, left a note which her tow truck guy used to call me, so it was obviously still there when she saw it, and I have a barcode for the gate on my car, registered with the HOA using paperwork that included my license plate number, which should give some indication that I might live there. I politely as I could muster at the moment said that I would have appreciated a call first, before they called a tow truck to have me towed. In response, she said that they didn't look at it that closely and that there was no way for them to tell whose it was. She also said it was a security risk and that they have had some parties at the clubhouse before, presumably by people who didn't live there. In a final response, I stated that I don't see how a car with a flat tire is a security risk and suggested that maybe the HOA should provide people event if they didn't live in our neighborhood with some grace in a situation where they are experiencing car trouble. Also, I don't know why a party at 3 p.m. in the afternoon would be a concern. There was no one else there. She then told me that if my tow truck didn't show up within an hour, she was going to have it towed anyway. My God. P.S. 3 weeks after moving in I got a letter telling me to fix the house number on our house or we would be fined. One number was missing, because it was loose and popped off. No welcome letter, hello from a neighbor, or friendly pie here. The next story is entitled Coworker is far too old to be throwing a temper tantrum. I work in a factory with hundreds of other people. It's in the middle of nowhere near a big city, so no buses, but there are taxis, Uber, Lyft, etc. I have a car and I drive myself daily. One of the women at my work doesn't have a car and gets rides with this other guy. He's pretty creepy, so I wasn't much surprised when he got fired last September for being racist. I was on vacation at the time, so I missed all the drama thankfully. So, this lady, I'll call her Megan, asked me about driving her regularly because she knows I live near her. A group of us go out for dinner after work once a month and I gave her a ride one time after dinner. I said no. I told her that I don't like driving people because it always turns into some stupid kind of drama and I'm not setting myself up to fall later. In October she asked me to drive her for a week as her regular ride was on vacation. She offered $5 a day. I said just for 1 week I would be okay with that. I drove her to work and back every day and on Friday she paid me. Everything went well and we agreed on Friday that it was over. That ended up being Thanksgiving weekend. On Monday, the holiday, I guess she called and left me a message that she needed a ride to work Tuesday afternoon. I was with my family then and according to the time-honored tradition of Thanksgiving, of course there's a ton of family drama I have to deal with. So, the last thing I'm doing is checking my phone to make sure I didn't miss a call or anything. So, I didn't get her one message that she needed a ride and surprise. I didn't pick her up. She left me one phone message, didn't follow up, and expected me to be there. Even I know that's not how it works. So, she's mad at me. And going around work shit talking me to anyone who will listen. At this point I don't even know about her message because I have a life and heaven forbid, she should actually talk to me about it. I didn't even know she was upset with me until my friend, Lessa, approached me and asked me what my side of the story was. Once Lessa heard me out she said she thought Megan was being stupid and I never really heard anything about it from anyone else after that. For the last few months Megan has been ignoring me at work, which is just fine with me, it requires no effort on my part and is totally her problem in my opinion. At least she isn't asking me for rides. Until last week I noticed she was scheduled to work a rotation with me and someone else showed up. I'm guessing that she made a protest to the supervisors, and they moved her, which I found really strange. They don't generally get involved in petty crap and it makes me wonder what she's been telling them about me. I don't know if I should speak to them about it or what. I really don't feel the need to justify myself to anyone about my personal business, but now she's bringing it into my professional life. It's a problem I have no answer for as I don't want to come off as petty to my superiors, but I don't want her maligning my reputation either. On Friday Lessa came to me and we were talking about our monthly dinner which is planned for this coming week. Apparently, Megan refuses to come to dinner if I'm there. And it's really important that she come this time for whatever bullshit reason I wasn't really listening to. Bottom line, I'm not invited to come. Because it's more important that Megan be there. I was shocked. And upset. I said some things I probably shouldn't have. About how it's her problem. I don't have a problem with her coming. They're excluding me when I haven't done anything wrong. Lessa was super apologetic and I think she's on my side, but she was outvoted. Lessa told me she wanted to be honest with me. The rest of the group would have lied to me and said we weren't going this time. She was worried I would have found out about it later and been even more upset. She was right about that. I told her it really hurt my feelings, but I appreciate that she would let me know. I was upset. It was my birthday on Tuesday, and she invited me out for a drink after work to celebrate after she talked to me. I went and we had a great conversation and I definitely feel good about my friendship with her. Everyone else can kick rocks at this point. When I told my husband about it, he was furious. He wants me to go scorched earth on Megan and my other so-called friends. I could, but I don't want to. I want to sit back and see how the situation plays out. I can see the advantage in having a talk with my supervisor about the refusing to work with me thing, but other than that, it's not worth it to me. I go to work to make money, not friends. It was nice to be included, but I'm thinking about creating my own group. Who knows, this could just be a few of them and the rest have no idea. I could actually see that happening. To be clear, I don't care about Megan hating me. That's her problem. I just don't get the entitlement of you have a car, so you have to jump when I need something. I have a job that has no public transportation, so others need to accommodate their schedules to me. It's ridiculous and I should have stuck with my original no. We're all old enough to be grandmothers for goodness sake. The next story is titled, Lady Yells at Us Then Comes Back Hours Later to Apologize, on someone else's behalf. I work in liquor. We have to do a lot of refusals, so being yelled at and dealing with aggressive customers is something I encounter almost daily. This was a new one for me though. A mother comes in with her 2 young girls. Anyone who works in this industry knows that these situations are generally the worst to deal with. Parents can never get past, but I'm buying it, and do not comprehend secondary supply laws. Thus, when we see a teenager and a parent stroll in, we keep an eye on it. If we see the kid pick out the alcohol, we can't sell it to the parent. That's what happened here. My lovely coworker explains to the mother why she cannot serve them. Karen does not understand and asks to speak to the manager. I stroll over and get the lowdown from my employee. They've done everything right, but clearly Karen expects me to come over and correct their incompetence. Alas, no, I back up my employee and explain the legal reason why we won't serve her tonight or the rest of the day. She looks ready for a fight. This is ridiculous, and starts saying a million what ifs. So, what if I left them in the car and came in myself? Then you wouldn't have known, right? Yep, correct, there are indeed ways you could have gotten away with it, if you were smart. Unfortunately for you, this is not the case. She explains it's for an 18th birthday party the girls are attending and it's a present for the birthday girl. Again, I do not care. She rants and raves some more before throwing her hands up and saying, I can't believe this, and storming out. On her way out, she looks at our wall where we have liquor licensing laws displayed. She says, 19,000 feet. The amount we'd be fined if we were caught selling to minors, and walks out. Weird, but we laugh it off, saying we hope she's learned something. I tell my employees if she comes back in today, don't serve her and call me over. 4 hours later, I get called back to the front. She's standing there with a big smile on her face. She says she wanted to come back and apologize for her daughter's behavior. They're just young girls, so get frustrated easily, but she explained the law to them, and it was a good teachable moment. At length she explains how she sat them down and said, they're in a tough position, they'll get fined if they serve us. In case it wasn't clear, not once during the whole interaction had either of her daughters even spoken. They just stood there looking humiliated while their crazy mother went off. I kept saying, we appreciate it, that means a lot, to get her out of the store, but she held us up for 5 minutes patting herself on the back, painting this picture of her Hellraiser children and her, this beautiful example of understanding and good parenting. Everyone she was speaking to was a witness to what had happened. We all knew that's not how it went down. Truly bizarre. The last story is titled, Well, I Never. I was at my local shopping center and needed a coffee. There is a coffee cake shop near me that does great coffee, so my feet automatically take me there. The shop has 4 large counters formed into a square in the middle of the food court area. I arrive at the front counter and no staff are at the register, but I see a female barista kneeling down at the back counter putting some boxes on a shelf. She looks up and sees me, smiles and waves. I am happy now because I have been acknowledged, and I start wondering if there is actually a happiness time limit between when an occupied staff member acknowledges you and when they come to help you. I only get to muse over this for a few seconds as she is suddenly at the counter with a big friendly smile asking how she can help me. Before I can answer, a very important voice from beside me announces, "Excuse me, we were here first." I turn to see this very well-dressed middle-aged couple beside me. The barista looks from them to me, and I shrug my shoulders as I cannot remember seeing them, but perhaps they were down the side counter, and in any case I don't mind if they go first. "Okay, what would you like?" the barista asks them. "So, what do they have?" he says to his partner as he looks at the menu on a large signboard behind the barista. "Cappuccinos, flat whites, lattes," he says as he continues to read every item. "Okay, while you have a look, I'm just going to help this guy," the barista suddenly says as she looks at me. "Excuse me?" the man asks, and he is not happy. The barista ignores him and asks me, "What would you like?" "Regular cap, no sugar please?" I ask, and the barista goes straight to the coffee machine. The couple look at each other as if the bank has just refused the loan for their beach house renovation. "Well, I never," the well-dressed woman declares, and she storms off with her partner. A minute later my coffee is ready, and I happily pay. I have never heard anyone say, "Well, I never," before, the barista says with a laugh. I laugh too, thank her for my coffee and walk away thinking that's probably the first time I had heard it too. Thank you for listening.